All right, the FMS 1220 millimeter Ranger. Let's repair the front landing gear that was broke with a brand new one. I'll show you how it goes in. I'll show you how we line up the servo linkage and get everything true to the rudder. Give you some good pictures down in here, so stay tuned.
If you want to win a jet like this, all you have to do is subscribe. Click the like button and leave a comment. And then ring the bell so you don't miss my next video. At 1,000 subscribers, we gave this jet away. At 5,000, we're going to give another one. I don't know what it is yet. We'll see when that time comes. So hey, subscribe guys. Happy flying.
Today in the shop, we're going to repair this FMS 1220 millimeter Ranger. It belongs to a friend of mine. He had a little oopsie, and the front landing gear got broke and out of alignment. He took it apart and put it back together, and he said the front wheel was just definitely not pointing straight. So he said, "Hey Sean, I looked all over YouTube and couldn't find much content about that plane and that wheel anywhere." He said, "Would you like to repair it and then you can make a video?" And I said, "Absolutely. Then I'd be able to help somebody out that runs into this issue." So a past video a week or so ago, I put the front wheel, installed it, and sure enough, it was out of alignment. And the way this spring is, it was just kind of bent. It was leaning over and the wheel was pointing far left, and there was just no fixing it. He had cracked this little fork when he was trying to fool with it, and so I just decided to buy a replacement. And the postman delivered me the most expensive shipping that I've seen for such a small, lightweight box. And FMS Models is responsible for this. I think the shipping was 38 bucks, something like that. So they stuck it to us. I bought it from them because they're the only hobby store that showed a picture of this whole thing. All the other hobby stores only showed from the spring down. That was it. And no description either. So being that the FMS model showed the entire piece of this front wheel that I need, the whole thing, top to the bottom, their picture showed it, that's where I got it. And the shipping was like $9.99 or something. I would rather them charge $5 more for the item than $10 for shipping. I mean, this is 3-4 ounces in a little tiny box. It says it came from New Jersey. 10 bucks, Oh well, let's get the plane unboxed and put on a stand, and let's repair this front wheel. And then we're also going to look into this reflex. I'll tell you more about that here in a minute. So, plane stand. Thank you, Henry. So, this plane comes with floats also. I have never seen a set of floats for RC airplanes until now. They're really really neat. They're constructed well too. There's a lot to them. There's more than what I thought was there. So, pretty big, and I definitely could picture that they would float the airplane. There's that. We'll put the other. For those of you that may not know, just a quick recap. Landing gear broken, obviously, and it goes in the front of the plane like that into this really nice and robust, we'll call it a socket, and it has a keyed control horn on top of it. It screws down, holds it in, and then the servo that runs the rudder, which is that guy right down in there. You see the rod going to the left there. On the other side of the servo, a rod goes forward up to the front landing gear, which you can see that hole right there. And then there's the landing gear. So let's get the new one out of the box get it installed the right way, get the linkage rod all set up, and then we'll get the servo tester out and make sure it's all aligned. Let's unbox the new one and compare it to the old one. That's always a good thing to do when you get new parts. You want to make sure that you got the right stuff. So we've got our old one. Like I mentioned, I bought it from FMS Models only because their pictures showed the entire front landing gear assembly. Everybody else showed that only. So let's compare good to bad. So the bad is on the right. Look at the length of the spring. So I was asking Patrick, was the spring supposed to act as some kind of a suspension? You know, I hadn't seen the plane brand new. This is the first time I've seen the landing gear how it's supposed to be in. And he couldn't really answer me, but obviously the spring is not suspension. It's only for something like this. You know, I did see him coming across a transition between concrete and asphalt, and caught in a divot, and it kind of did that, which is good. I'd rather this happen than break the front of the plane out. But it's compact, and it's straight compared to, see this keyway here, that's flat on that end. This horn goes on there like that, and the linkage rod, one end is on the servo and the other end is on here. Maybe it's backwards, I think. Yep. And that's how it steers it. So we need to make sure that we put it up in the plane like that, so that the arm goes on like so, and then the rod goes back like that. Well, let me just show you guys. I was putting the old one in the box just so now Patrick has a spare wheel and a spare screw, and the old one won't fit in the box. The new one fits in there. The old one, not quite, almosty. Well, I was making sure that I had all my tools ready, and then I realized that the linkage rod that I was showing you guys with was for his elevator, and I can't find the linkage rod for the steering. So we'll just make another one. First thing we need to make sure is the rod will fit through the hole in the, and we'll call it the steering arm or whatever. We just need to make it a tad bit bigger, just like so. And then it takes a Z-bend on this end, and then it has a set screw on the other. So we got some Z-bender pliers right here. Run the rod up to the end right there, flush. Then we got a Z-bend. All right, I'm gonna run the front tire up from the bottom like that, with this flat spot facing down, you know, our down that we're looking at. So the flat spot is now on the bottom, which is down here. So if you're sitting in the plane, it'd be on the right-hand side, would be the flat spot. And then I'm just gonna kind of take a measurement here. I need to run this guy through. There we go. Just like that. And then now I'm going to run the front tire up. Let's see if I can position this over that hole. and hold down on it. All right, so I've got the wheel pushed up in there. Got our control horn on like it's supposed to be. I'm trying to get the screw to sit on my screwdriver, and I'm thinking that the magnetization has worn out a little bit. And it has. So I'm going to take some needle nose and try to let's put it in there and get it sitting where it needs to sit. There we go. All right, so now the control horn is facing to the left if you were sitting in the airplane. And the wheel is somewhat, let's get the wheel straight here. So there's a straight wheel, and we won't bump it. Spin it upside down without touching the wheel, and you can see where the horn is facing. So that's good news. Now we need to get the linkage rod into that right there. Move the rod away and then try to fish it in. If not, we'll have to move the servo. There we go. So I'm looking at the front wheel. Boy, that rod is almost not long enough. It's in there with a little bit to spare though. Let's check our alignment now. I'm eyeballing it myself, so I'm gonna call that straight. Hope I didn't bump it. And let's tighten it down right there, and then we'll activate the servo and see it in action. So you can't just go cranking down on this because you'll break the plastic of the servo and all that stuff. So I'm going to try to hold that, and then I'm going to tighten down on it. Let's get my servo tester out, and then we'll see this wheel in action. This is just a vintage servo driver, old 4.8 volt pack, still good, still holds good charge, over 5 volts when it's fully charged. Then I'm going to stick an extension into one of the 4 servo plugs right there, and then I'm going to select neutral, and then we're going to plug this in into the rudder front wheel servo. And the servo didn't move, which is good. All right, so the servo tester's in neutral. The next setting when I press the button is automatic, or it just sweeps back and forth. And then I click the button again, I can get up to manual. I know that the position of the dial, that's around centered, so I'm just going to press the button twice real quick to get to manual. So now I'm in manual, and you can see that our wheel is working. So let's check the rudder and all that stuff and make sure that when you're turning left, that the wheel turns left and the rudder goes left and all that. All right, so I hope you guys can see that. So if we see the rudder move that direction, we see the front wheel is turning left also. So right now that's straight, which the front wheel needs a little alignment still, but if you were making a left-hand turn, the rudder would go that direction, and then the wheel turns that way. A right-hand turn. So the rudder and the steering wheel are in sync, and they're both doing what they're supposed to be doing. Not bad when the rudder and the steering wheel are in sync. So when the rudder goes over to the left, that means it's going to be making a left-hand turn, and the steering wheel turns to the correct direction. And they both have plenty of movement. Everything's good to go. So, all right, guys. Hope that helped. Just in case you did need a little help for whatever reason. If you guys get anything out of my videos, please make sure that you're still subscribed and leave a like. How about a comment? Comments are awesome. And that's what helps support what I do. And it also helps the YouTube algorithm. That way it sees that, hey, people not only watch it, but they go the extra mile to make sure they're subscribed and click like and they leave comments. Then the YouTube algorithm will put my videos in front of other people. And maybe there's somebody with a 1220 millimeter Ranger that is getting a killer headache over that front wheel. And seeing this video would just make his day. There were times before I started YouTube that I would watch hundreds of videos just to see a color of one wire or where something was plugged up. So, you know, my video may not have been perfect in every aspect, you know, camera angles, blah, 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 something, but that one wire or way the arm on the top of the servo or the steering wheel was facing or something, you know, something would help somebody. So, all right, enough babbling, guys. Thank you so much. Until next time, you'll see me here. Oh, and we're going to do the reflex. My friend said that the instruction manual was kind of confusing and a little awkward how to connect the FMS reflex to your receiver. So we're going to do a video here real soon on plugging up this reflex, and then we'll give this back to Patrick and he can fly it this weekend. So thank you so much, guys. Until next time, you'll see me here. Adios.